All right, guys, here we are, another week of the NFL season, and this week we have an AFC South showdown as the 2-6 Jaguars will travel to Indianapolis to face the 4-5 Indianapolis Colts. And this is going to be a fun one, man. Both these teams are actually somewhat hot right now. The Jaguars started the season 0-5, and they've actually won the last 2 out of 3 games. And on the other hand, the Colts are a team that started out 0-3, and they've won 4 out of the last 6 and 3 out of the last 4. So each of these teams seem like they're playing a little bit better football after kind of getting off on a rough note. And, the Colts are actually a team that they're going to be a tough go. I actually think it's going to be a tougher game than the Buffalo Bills just because I think they're a much more balanced team. They're a team that is kind of led by Jonathan Taylor, who is having an incredible season. He's on pace to basically have 2,100 all-purpose yards on the season. With Derrick Henry down, there's a real chance that he's going to be the kind of the rushing king or whatever, have the rushing title of 2021 as long as he stays healthy. And I guess speaking on the healthy note, I think the Colts started off kind of bad because their offensive line was so injured. They didn't have their all-pro guard, Quentin Nelson, and they also didn't have their right tackle, Braden Smith. But they seem to be coming back good and healthy, and it's going to be tough along that front. And you also look at Carson Wentz, man. Carson Wentz had a horrible season in 2020 with the Eagles. It was a career low, and he looked like he was turning into a broken quarterback. But under former offensive coordinator Frank Reich, he's kind of been able to rejuvenize his career in a way. This year he has a 63% completion percentage, 2,200 passing yards, and a whopping 17 touchdown to 3 interception ratio. And those are some big time numbers. I mean, I know me, I was out on Carson Wentz. I didn't think Carson Wentz was going to be able to do much because it's so hard to fix a quarterback that is seemingly broken, especially when their mechanics are a little bit down and they get into a lot of bad habits. But this year, the Colts have done a really good job when it comes to kind of capturing his strengths and kind of doing that whole part better. So when it comes to Carson Wentz and the record, I mean, they're 4-5, but they're not 4-5 in spite of Carson Wentz. The primary reason they're 4-5 is because of the defense. When I was looking at it outside of the Jets game, when the Colts give up more than 20 points on defense, they tend to lose the game. And less than 20 points, they win the game. So really, it seems like the defense is the Achilles heel on this game. And you kind of had to see what kind of defense shows up for Indianapolis. They're a little bit weaker when it comes to the passing defense. They don't really have any premier defensive ends. Their strength on the defense is really their front seven, especially on the interior, the defensive line with DeForest Buckner. He's able to kind of wreak havoc kind of going up the middle. And also the linebackers, really with Darius Leonard. He's a extremely talented linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts. Been a little bit of a down year for him, but we all know what his ceiling is, and it is very, very high. And also Xavier Rhodes is out this game, so that might help out the Jaguars passing game a little bit. And that's the main thing that has to get going. I mean, first of all, when the Jaguars offense, we've seen what happens when you take James Robinson off of the Jaguars. James Robinson was injured early in the Seahawks game 2 weeks ago, and from there, the Jaguars offense kind of spiraled out of control, and it's still not really intact because the Jaguars haven't had James Robinson in the last 2 games. And in the last 2 games, coming off of the bye week, the Jaguars have not scored a legit touchdown on offense. They scored a touchdown against the Seahawks, but it was in garbage time within 2 minutes, and that doesn't really count to me. So really, they haven't had a legit touchdown since they were in England. You know what I mean? And it seems like the offense just runs through James Robinson, and they're going to have to continue to do that. Now, James Robinson, he was a game-time decision last week to not be able to go, and it's looking like this week he is kind of trending toward being able to play. He is listed as questionable, and Urban Meyer said he has a good chance to play. So, me personally, I believe that James Robinson will be a go this game. And really with this game, the Jaguars had to get their passing game going. I don't know how. It's going to have to be through like play action and stuff like that. It's just really with the Jaguars right now, it's like, Trevor Lawrence will go out there and make an incredible play, and he'll get the ball in a receiver's hands and maybe a tough spot. And maybe it's contested, but it's in their hands and they drop it. And the other way around, sometimes these receivers kind of get open and Trevor Lawrence misses them. There doesn't seem to be a lot of unity when it comes to the passing game, and we're having kind of new receivers come in and out each week, it feels like. And, this week's flavor has been John Brown, who can run a little bit. But, I'm not going to be – I know a lot of people are really excited about John Brown, but I'm not really getting excited about anybody that we picked up off the streets. You know what I mean? I know everybody was excited about getting Tyron Johnson from the Chargers, and he hasn't done anything. So somebody has to emerge out of this passing game. Somebody. It is out there. Just go out and take it, man. Obviously, it's been a disappointment with Laviska Shenault. DJ Chark got hurt. Marvin Jones is Marvin Jones. He's been kind of phased out of the offense a little bit lately. I would try to kind of go back to him just because he's pretty reliable. And, the Jaguars, with what's his face, Jamal Agnew has been kind of a leading receiver for us. Dan Arnold's really stepped up. So have to get the passing game going somehow. And, this is going to be, it's going to be a little bit different when it comes to the Jaguars game plan this one on defense, because last week the Jaguars put out an incredible defensive performance, only allowing 6 points against the Bills. That's incredible. But last week the Jaguars pretty much sold out on the fact that the Bills don't have a running game. Devon Hamilton, primary run stopper, only had like 12 snaps last week. And they really sold out on, okay, let's just make Josh Allen extremely uncomfortable and, force him to kind of win the game. And that's exactly what they did. This week's different. Jonathan Taylor, extremely good running back, so you can't completely sell out on the pass like that. But at the same time, the game plan has to be stop Jonathan Taylor, and then, once the passing situation comes, you have to, get pressure on Carson Wentz. And I feel stupid saying that because I know that's anybody's game plan. Every week, stop the run, get pressure on the quarterback. But, that's kind of how it is. And I think the Jaguars need to continue to blitz and get some exotic blitzes going. Last week we saw Josh Allen get an interception because they overload blitz one side, dropped Josh Allen back into the other side on coverage, and, that led to the quarterback getting a little bit stirred up and throwing a pick. I would definitely aim for something similar this week. Because we know with Carson Wentz, there's a few things that we know about Carson Wentz. One, he can make all the throws. He's extremely good when it comes to that. And, he has a big arm. And, he's pretty good at reading defenses. But at the same time, while it doesn't show it this year, only 3 interceptions, maybe it showed it last game and really over his career, is that he does like to play hero ball. He's not a big guy like that really likes to throw the ball away, and he wants to make the big play. And that was costly last week against the Titans because it directly caused them to lose. Throwing a pick 6 within 2 minutes of the game to give the Titans the lead, and then throwing a pick in overtime, which gave the Titans the ball, in the Colts territory, and they won the game like that. The Titans did. So the Jaguars have to ramp up pressure on Carson Wentz. Obviously, this pressure came out of nowhere last game, but continue to keep that thing going. And it's a big opportunity for the Jaguars to kind of get a division win. The Jaguars historically play pretty good against the Colts. Not so well against the Titans and Texans, but they play pretty well against the Colts. And obviously, the Colts were their lone victory last season. So, it's going to be a fun game. It's a good matchup, both these teams, and I think this one could go either way. I'm not gonna throw out a prediction out there. I don't want to be negative. I know I've been accused of being negative a lot, but I'll say this, man. Any given Sunday, Jaguars, there's not a game on the schedule the Jaguars can't win. And I think that was proven with the Buffalo game. But we'll see what Urban Meyer can cook up, man. Urban Meyer surprised a lot of us last week with an incredible game plan to kind of beat the Bills, who the Jaguars had no business of beating. I think the Colts, even though they're 4-5, I think it's a tougher game than the Bills just because of how much more balanced the Colts are on offense. But the defense isn't as tough, so the Jaguars need to put up points, need to put up over 20 points because, it's shown from past games that if you put up over 20 points, as long as you're not the Jets, you're going to win the game. So that's kind of how I feel about it. So, guys, I'm back. I'll be live streaming this one. I can't wait. Come on, join me tomorrow. I'll flip the camera this way. We'll be watching football that way, and should be a lot of fun. I missed you guys. With all that said, thank you guys for watching. Download the Relevant app down below, man. Join Jaguars Fanatics. We'll do a couple shows there tomorrow. Also, check out the other links down below. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at UCF_Jaguar. Also follow Generation Jaguar on their different social media links. Also, Back Room Collection. Use my promo code UCFJ for 10% off a custom canvas. It's some beautiful artwork over there, so definitely check that out. And with all that said, go Jags, and I'll see you guys Sunday.